Joining me now with more analysis on the search are former FAA official, U.S. Army pilot John McGraw, along with pilot and former Navy officer Philip Holloway. John, let's start with you. Let's look at this board and your thoughts on it.
Well, Sean, I'm sorry, I can't see the board. Let me get it turned around here.
Well, what we were describing to you, and that is really quickly here, that it made this turn, and it would be 1,500 miles perhaps about here. If we draw a straight line down, that it went in that direction, the location where they're now searching off the coast of Australia.
Well, I completely agree with the previous guest that you have to look at every scenario at this point. We really don't have anything that we can rule out at this point. I think that the most probable outcome is that the airplane went south and continued south until it ran out of fuel. The satellite data that we have continued. I think that's probably the best data we have. And so it's okay that they're focusing down south. It does not mean that they should stop the rest of the investigation. That has to continue because there could be other answers for why the satellite continued.
Michael is shaking his head. He agrees with you. Philip, let's get your input on that. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I absolutely agree. I've been a criminal lawyer for 16 years, and what I can tell you is that an investigation of any sort, especially one of this magnitude, must begin with facts. Facts that have to be reliable, accurate, and complete. What we have not been getting are any facts that are accurate, reliable, and complete. Only now, I think that a lot of the other countries, the United States and Australia and some other countries, are getting involved. In fact, the FBI now has possession of the simulator found in the pilot's home. I think now we're going to start getting some answers. But as Senator Chambliss said earlier tonight on this network, these transponders were manually turned off. So that is, if that's a fact, that tells us something. We can draw an inference that a human being was involved in turning this airplane. The real question we have to answer
but isn't it also ACARS and the transponder? And then, again, if you believe the information we're getting, the fact that they manually put in a computer new coordinates and a new flight path?
Right. That means there's human involvement in this, which means, to me, it's a crime, and it needs to be investigated as a crime. We have to be very thorough, because if we're not, and we don't get the answers to these questions as to who, what, and why, this thing could happen again, and it can't happen again. This is too much of a big deal to ever happen again.
And we can add one other point to that. These families that have loved ones that were on that airplane, they deserve answers. And we also need to know if this was an instance of terror, because we've got to protect airlines, not just in the United States, but worldwide. Thank you guys, gentlemen. Wish we had more time. Thank you for being with us.